Lehman Brothers, Goldman Sachs, false flag, terror attacks, Bill Gates, Henry Kissinger, New World Order, mind control, Bank of America stealing homes with cut and paste mortgage loans, police, state, taser guns, FEMA camps, man to run, Monsanto rules the food supply while Big Pharma dopes your mind, prison system, profiteers, foundations, fund the fears, fund the evil through the years, the world's not as it appears. CIA smuggles drugs while Wachovia and Wells Fargo launder them, then give the proceeds to the owners of the Federal Reserve Bank. Now the IRS takes money out of every single check. Money they created out of thin air and leave you with debt. They want to make you a serf, a slave to their demand. They want to take your life in every way they can. Fluoride, GMO, vaccines, chemtrails, United Nations genocide. The world they show us is not real. This is how they kill and steal. Rothschild, Bundy, Rockefeller, Club of Rome. On the Georgia Guidestones it's written in stone. Cut through the matrix, awaken to the lies. Do not be hypnotized. We are one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Howard Nema, and you are watching Truth Talk News on truthbroadcastnetwork.com. And We Are Change Connecticut. Keep calling it Truth Talk News. It really should be We Are Change Connecticut Truth Talk News. After all, that is the affiliation that we have with the state. And my good friend Jim Russell, I have to keep bringing him up because we're doing great strides again. As I said last night, with the fluoride, and I sent a message to Michelle Cook. Hopefully we can get her on air to discuss this. She is the state representative in Torrington, Connecticut, where I reside. Busy day. Got here a little late, sorry. I'm having a little trouble with my vehicle yet again, interestingly enough. But whatever, it always has something to do with something. Very, very busy day. I have some news to go over. I left it in the car, actually, because I was running late. As usual, never really have enough time to get things done. But I definitely want to go into the Medical Mafia. I have some great work here by Eustace Mullins. I keep referring to his works. Researching the way the New World Order works through the big pharma. It's a great allegory. It's a great way to show how there is this connection between the banking, the medical, and the insurance. It's clearly obvious what they're doing. But then we also have the absolute tyranny of the United Nations world government going out there trying to take Americans' guns and forcibly, have them take away guns. I think it's really fear tactics, honestly. My opinion on the whole matter is this. Listen, they're never going to take Americans' guns away. Americans won't stand for it. It'll never happen. The sheep, yeah, maybe they'll give up their guns. But, again, the idea of keeping and bearing arms, the right to bear arms, is our God-given right. And we cannot give that up, and many won't. There's a lot of stuff on the internet now about this particular situation because, of course, this entire month, this is the subject matter at the United Nations, and they're doing quite a job at getting everybody to buy on to this, to protect the of course the world from democracy and freedom and peace. You know, that's what they do. That's what the United Nations is for. World government is good. Like I said yesterday on yesterday's show, how Walter Cronkite was selling that to the American people, the American sheeple who listen to that garbage. I mean, he was a propagandist. Come on, face it, ladies and gentlemen. And then the obvious COINTELPRO manipulations going on here with this whole situation with the guns. It's not going to happen. Come on, please. You know, you got getting all these people angry, this fear mongering, and then you know, let's get, you know, like they're just again trying to boil a pot that's never going to boil over in that realm. I don't care what the United Nations does. It still would have to get through. I know they're a criminal Congress, and I realize that they vote for these criminal things like incarcerating Americans without trial and go along with all of this tyranny and things many of them don't even realize that are in the bills because they're packed full of so much garbage. So certainly we're in a situation where the United Nations is intent on controlling guns for their purposes. Now, they're saying that it's for trade and to stop the illegal gun trade and all of these other reasons behind small arms. We, of course, know that it's not that. Now, the NRA is strong against this, and I'm an NRA member and a John Birch Society member, even though there's shaky history with John Birch Society as far as the Rockefeller connections to it early on. But again, that's the intent for controlled opposition, the COINTELPRO. And it's not surprising that just about every single opposition movement to this establishment has been infiltrated by these people who are intent on confusing, distracting, causing, you know, rabble-rousing, fear-mongering, and really distracting from the purpose of other agendas, leaving things focusing on certain areas while leaving the more important factors like, well, again, you know, I know our economy is on the verge of collapse, and we have a communist president who is bringing us further into enslavement. But taking our guns, ladies and gentlemen, you know, is not going to happen. So relax, you know, have a you know, a break there from the anger, because it's just almost laughable to think that they could pull that off. But what's not laughable is that they can vaccinate your children and you willfully let them, that they can take away your rights, other rights, that you willfully give up, they're forcing you to buy health insurance, taxation without representation, pilferage. You stand for nothing. The majority of Americans are just interested in their own situation. And that's by design, so that you're too busy with your own shit to worry about what's really happening and what's causing your shit, or the shit that's in your shit, if that makes any sense to anybody. But it's the truth. You know, we have a government that has been bought and sold by the New World Order minions years and years ago, ladies and gentlemen, and they've been bringing in this New World Order for a very long time. We're in it. It's a current event. It's happening as we speak. And a big part of it is the doping of society through recreational drugs, as well as hardcore narcotics and pills, alcohol, slow, steady restraints upon, lifting the restraints upon sex, and just look at television from the last 40 years, and that's just, oh, that's just the evolution. No, this is by design. I mean, there's stuff like that show Spartacus on Showtime. I keep going to it. I mean, it is just horrible. What they're doing, the desensitization with the video games as well. I mean, this isn't a joke, ladies and gentlemen. We are being mind controlled and manipulated by these forces. Music too, of course, and we can't leave out television. I mean, that's the biggest one. With their all product placements everywhere, and everyone now they get the internet with products. Incredible, incredible. Pam just said something. Pam's trying to call me. Oh, she's giving me a sunshine. She's smiling. Okay, there you go, Pam. Yeah, thanks, Pam. Pam Suggs at UnitedTruthSeekers.com. You know, sharing the information out there. Great site to get all the information. In fact, I'm glad you're here, Pam, or just you're online. You can call in if you'd like. Just a little in the middle of this, but I certainly want to address UnitedTruthSeekers.com. In fact, I was going to reference it. There's going to be a section. I'm going to get a little more organized and structured as we move along here. But believe me, my life is it's sort of like you know, walking on your tippy toes with 2 trays full of food, and you're trying to figure out where you're going to go and try to get there on time. Yeah, I'm always juggling something. So it's good to have people like Pam Suggs and that get this information out, share the broadcasts. But I am going to have a segment dedicated to United Truth Seekers webpage, and we're going to refer to it because the information that I talk about and all of this stuff is contained there, and I don't give it enough attention. And that's what made me think about the gun thing today, to talk about the guns. She had put a post up there, and again, it's all over the internet. Alex Jones put it up with InfoWars, and you know, the devil in the details is true, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm not gonna be worried about this. I'm more concerned with the fact that our dollar devaluation continues. The Federal Reserve, while all this stuff is going on, really bad stuff's going on at the Fed. Everyone should be really paying attention to it. And I'm going to address that and the way that the Federal Reserve is tied into the medical mafia and the way they work together with the same interests, the same shareholders, the same controlling forces to, again, control, consolidate. Oh, I got a group call here. Okay, let me answer. Really bad stuff's going on. Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
Good evening. Somebody back there is going to have to mute their.
That's me.
That would be you, Randy. Good evening, Randy.
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Good. I got Randy Simmons and Pam Suggs of UnitedTruthSeekers.com. Speaking of the devil there. Actually, yes, exactly what I was...
I'm not the devil.
No, I didn't mean you, Randy. I'm just saying it was just a euphemism. It doesn't mean, you know...
I know. I'm just...
Obviously.
Man, it's been a rough week. I'm grabbing any straws I can to humor.
I believe it. It's got to be a rough week. But Pam, you know, I did want to... I'm glad you're on, and as I mentioned, I was hoping that you'd call in. That I am going to do this segment. I'm going to highlight your page and all this information, and that's going to be great. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I'll actually start doing it right now as we talk. But I'm going to get into this medical mafia a little deeper, and I'm sure Randy has quite a bit to say about it, considering current events that we'll touch on. But maybe there's some updates. I don't know, but we'll find out. Now, we got a couple of things I wanted to go in. In fact, I did need to, eventually, I figured while I was maybe going over some of this stuff, I would grab it. I got to grab some of the text that I left in my car. But what I have here is, first off, I want to go right to Pam's site. Let me do that real quick. And this is, everybody go to UnitedTruthSeekers.com. On a browser, you can find it. And then you will go and see how much information is there, and it's like cataloged. It's very well put together. There are links to just about everything, and that you can imagine. Yesterday I did some Drudge Report stuff. I went off on Drudge, and then I realized that, wow, you know, most of this information Oh, yeah. Obama to give UN control of our water. This sounds fun. Is Obama's federal government getting ready to put a huge red X mark on the Hoover Dam, which supplies most of the American West with its life-sustaining water? Having this scenario play out is quite plausible, as Barack Obama's executive orders continue to enslave us. Oh, yes. That's a really good one. So you got all this information. And then, of course, we have, well, we can't forget about the biased news in the media and the FDA, the so-called, I hate these mafia kingpins, the so-called silent majority is presumed to be accept any information provided by the media as proven, undeniable truth, and as a result, the bearers of the details presented in the news are considered heroes beyond reproach. For this reason, professional reporters scavenge any source of data, and quite often, I should continue that, it's a good one, and quite often...
Yeah, that one actually came off of Dr. Carpenter's blog.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's why I'm showing it. And then we can talk about it, and you can give a little insight while I grab that data that I need to get, speaking of data. And then we have the fact that the details presented in the news are these reporters scavenge any type of information and report some bias or incorrect information as factual, worthy of the mention within the context of their initial purpose, so that they can achieve their goals.
And they did.
And that's what they do. That's what they do, Randy, and obviously you know.
They did it today.
What happened today?
Yeah, a local newspaper in Owasso. It's a satellite town outside of Tulsa. That's where Dr. Carpenter's office is. I mean, the office is still there, just no lasers, right? And, well, I imagine it was one of the local police that tipped him off to the details, because there's some details of the story that there's no way anybody would have known, like as far as technically the allegations and the U.S. title code and such that was alleged to have been violated. And Dr. Carpenter just obviously didn't want to read through the thing when it actually happened, because it just, well, you know, it was upsetting to her.
Absolutely.
And so I got a copy of it. And read through it. Every paragraph of this thing, man, every paragraph of this thing has the phrase mismarked and adulterated drugs. They're alleging that she's manufacturing a drug. They're alleging that she was in possession of adulterated medical device. Actually, I do, but I don't know if I need, well, Dr. C hasn't really told me I can actually post.
Oh, I understand. That's horrible. No, I'll be willing to whenever you're ready to do it. I mean, you know. But I mean, that's disgusting.
Yeah,
you know, that's just disgusting. You know?
But the thing is like 5 pages long. It's got 10 or so paragraph A, B, C, D. It's like 10 of them. Each one of them has the phrase mislabeled drugs and adulterated medical devices. You know, how can you adulterate and tamper with a medical device that you patented yourself? I don't know.
Really there's a lot of things.
And the other,
you know, go ahead.
The other thing, this drug, which is her stain, you know, calling it a drug, and saying that she is selling, or at least implying that she's selling lasers. She's selling this adulterated laser device to people, and she's told me it seems like that's the only way they could have gotten FDA involved, was to twist the facts and really stretch, you know.
Well, that's what's going on. That's why I want to expose it, Randy. And you know what else is important? Again, like I give a shout out to a good friend of mine. Today is July 17th. Actually, 22 years ago, my wife and I. Yeah, you know what?
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I took her to see Robert Plant, and Atlanta Miles opened. It was an awesome show at Jones Beach. Yeah, Jones Beach in New York. Yeah, it was great. But anyway, I don't want to digress, but again, I wanted to give a shout-out because it's so interesting that I was talking to this, I guess in that area, in the western area like you're talking about over there. And he's a patriot, and it's great talking to you again, and I'm glad you're back on the grid. Keep in touch with me, brother. And I know he's listening right now, and we're talking about a few things that are very important here. Now, he might not have the background, and others might not have the background listening, Randy, to see what new tyranny had occurred on September 11th, on July 11th.
It was July 11th.
The day, now
Yeah,
think of
that
that,
was the day
July 11th, 7-Eleven. Think about the way the numerology works for those out there in the knowledge. Interesting that they decided to hit you on 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
But they did, and what did they do? And
well, okay, sure, I can handle it for a minute. Dave, what led up to this was a series of consultations and phone calls that went back to last year. Several months ago, a person posing as a patient came to see Dr. Carpenter, actually posing as the nephew of a patient, came to see Dr. Carpenter and for a consultation to find out some information on whether this treatment could help his aunt. And there were subsequent phone calls, and eventually an appointment was set up. This appointment was canceled, rescheduled about 3 times over the course of the year, and finally rescheduled and confirmed for July the 11th of last week. And at the particular time that this alleged patient was supposed to finally show up, there was no patient. There were eight uniformed FDA officers. Actually, I think 6 were feds and 2 were local police officers. But they came into Dr. Carpenter's office and just took over, started taking stuff, said, we're taking this for investigation. They took the hard drives out of the machines, out of the computers. They extracted all the data, put most of them back. One of them they didn't put back right. I had to go over today and reconnect it to get it to boot up. Messed with the routers. Took all the patient records and employee records that were on hand. Actually made, I think they made Wendy take them to the storage unit and get old records too. And they took the prototype lasers. They took all of the
explain what these prototype lasers do, and like
it's
people
a
might
low
not know,
power.
People might not understand what Dr. Carpenter does.
And this is where this is where I'm out here on the tightrope. It's called leash therapy. It's a laser therapy for
everybody.
Yeah, LIESH. It stands for light-induced enhanced selective hyperthermia, and it's a form of photodynamic therapy. Something that you can find all over Google. You search for laser PDT on Google, and you'll find millions of hits. And there's lots of people all over the world, mainly in universities and high-dollar pharma-funded studies that are going on using color enhancements that are nanoparticle-based solutions. In other words, some part of the process has to be a lucrative money racket for the big pharma, or they're not going to support it.
Of course.
Which is mainly why Dr. Carpenter never got any support, because her stain it's color dye and
right.
saline
and that's it exactly. And then that's why the Rockefeller Foundation turned her down, and she even went to them for money, which is interesting to see if they actually want to help, right? See how they want to help. They want to help take money out of your pocket and poison you, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they want to help doing.
Yeah, they wanted to help. They wanted her to leave.
Not chemotherapy. That's what they want to do. And radiation. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They wanted her to leave her first device, and we'll get back with you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Just leave it with us, and we'll get back with you.
We'll take care of this for you.
Sure, yeah. Well, anyway, this goes back 4 or 5 years that people in the state of Arkansas were getting really, really upset. She patented this in 2000, I want to say 2001, and the patent was actually applied for in the 90s. But in 2002, she started treating patients, and lots of good results. At one point, about 4 years ago, she started getting so much publicity on shortwave and streamcasts. Like she was advertising on Genesis, you know, and Liberty News Radio and RBN. And somebody in Little Rock, her office was in Little Rock. Somebody in Little Rock had asked her to make infomercial and maybe some 30-second TV ads. Well, TV ads are short. I think they were 15-second ads. Anyway, as soon as she went on local media in the state, because before that, all of her media was international. You know, it was on the web and on shortwave. And people were coming from Australia. They were coming from South Africa, Europe, all over the place. When she started advertising in Arkansas, the local powers that be just lost it. There were state officials contacting her and basically demanding that she give all the details of what it is that she does. She wasn't about to. She had already been down that road, you know. I think at one point they offered her something, but it was a peanut.
It was peanuts. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was nothing. And who would do that? It's crazy.
But anyway. 3.5 to 4 years ago, the last year that we were actually in Arkansas, her doctor, and the state laws in Arkansas are a little bit different. She had to have an MD on the staff in order to do this therapy in Arkansas. Well, the first one, his license was taken away for something that he actually had two practices, and he alternate days. One day he'd be with Dr. Carpenter, the next day he'd be in another county at this other clinic that he worked at. Something happened at one of the other clinics, and I think it involved a prescription pad or some unauthorized person filling out a prescription or something. Anyway, they needed some excuse to take his license away, and so they did. And Dr. Carpenter had to find another MD. The first one she tried to get, they wouldn't approve their license. They were going to move from another state to Arkansas just to work for her. They wouldn't approve her license because she had to have a certain credential approval to work in the state of Arkansas. They wouldn't grant it. The next one that she found turned out to be a mole, and she caught him working. She caught him before hours. She showed up early for work one day, found him trying to sell some specs on a laser that he supposedly had an idea for a new kind of laser, and he wanted to sell it to some manufacturer. It was her details.
Right.
What details of it? Yeah, he was trying to sell her stuff out from underneath her. Not physically. He didn't actually have the device out there, you know, with the salesman, but he had some numbers out there and some figures and some things on paper that they were trying to make a deal out there. She fired him on the spot. And the very next day after she fired him, the state of Arkansas came in and said, demanded copies of the records of a certain amount of patients. Basically, everybody this particular new doctor had contact with. So she had to provide them with the copies of the records. Well, strangely enough, every bit of slander that's appeared on the internet in the last 3 years has been from somebody connected to one of those patients. The patients were approached, convinced to have chemo. Three of them.
Every single one of them.
Yeah, well, and 3 of them are now passed away.
That's right.
Because of that. And part of the story was that each one of them has somebody attached. Each one of these former patients has somebody attached to them. One is a husband, one is a son, and the other is a close friend. Talking about Michelle Wolven.
Yes, Michelle Wolven. That's a euphemism for close friend is the opposite there, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
She's a
close
troll.
friend.
She's a troll.
Right. One of the ex-patient was a close friend of hers.
Yes.
And anyway, these 3 cases were used as poster cases in a way over the last 3 years to make either a mockery or demonize Dr. Carpenter. Bob Criscuolo, who is the one that she calls Pinocchio, he has a rip-off page, laysmedinc.net. It's nothing but a joke. It's a total farce. But he's a clown, and he tries to tries to make fun of everything that Dr. Carpenter does. The other two people just go to extremes trying to twist the truth and say, it's such a long story, Howard. I mean, I don't know how much of it I can tell. But
it is really a long story, but I just wanted to give people a background that you've been attacked. And then these very...
She said COINTELPRO after her, and that's what they are. They're COINTELPRO. They were hired by the court in Arkansas because they wanted her out of business. They wanted her stepped to the side so that they could come in and take everything she had. First, they tried to get it, demanding her to hand it over, and she wouldn't, and ended up leaving the state. Well, 3 months later, this lawsuit came about because of the same, group of people. And it turns out that the person that filed the lawsuit, it took Dr. Carpenter and 3 attorneys 3 years to get copies of her medical records.
Wow.
That's how bad they didn't want her to see those medical records. When she got them, it proved that the treatment actually worked on her.
Of course.
And she was an opportunist. They had to have fed her a line of, you're going to be a millionaire. Come on, let us give you a mastectomy. And they did. They cut him off, and the pathology reports proved that it was dead.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point. Again, Randy, we've had Dr. Carpenter on and Randy Simmons, the webmaster for Medical Conspiracy. But it's important that everyone realizes that that's what this is all about. It's about the fact that the cancer is dead. It's dead tissue. The tumor is dead, okay? Now, that's the proof in the pudding that the theory or the treatment, however you want to call it, is that once the tumor is dead, that the body will naturally, in its own course of time, take away the dead tissue, like any other dead tissue that the body gets rid of, right? And it's a natural
becomes
process.
An annoyance. Sometimes it becomes an annoyance in people, because it's a thing that you don't want to cut off, because when you cut it off, it's a risk of, obviously, what happens when you cut into cancer.
Oh, my God, yes, you cut into cancer, it spreads. Everybody knows that. They open you up and you die. It's eugenics.
There have been some, and the thing is that there have been I want to say just a small handful that have found and only a surgeon, you see, can do that, and there have been a couple that have been able to find MDs willing to not take a clean margin when they cut dead tissue off. The problem with taking a clean margin is infrastructure, because that's when they can cut into the infrastructure, and I can't believe I'm even talking like this, because I have no medical training at all. This is all from osmosis and 6 years of talking about it with her.
Again, it's from understanding, right?
But it ended the lawsuit that brought about the lawsuit from 3 years ago that brought about 3 years of COINTELPRO, not just web pages, not just videos in which Michelle Woven was calling Dr. Carpenter a witch and a mass murderer and a psychopath and all kinds of stuff. That. Not only that, but the woman is a stalker too. She put herself in visible positions anywhere on the internet that somebody happened to be talking about Dr. Carpenter. She would infiltrate the forum and basically take over with her buddies. They would come in there, take it over, and then they would contact people. They put their email addresses up there. Anybody that's been to Dr. Carpenter or thinking about going to Dr. Carpenter, call me first. Put her phone number, email address up there, And we know of at least, I think, 2 that were fine until they got to the period of doubt, and they contacted Michelle. She got to them, and they're gone now.
That's horrible.
Because she convinced them to have.
Yeah,
she convinced them to have PET scans.
Right. And then I want you to just make mention, if you will, about the fact that there are people, of course, that are now afraid because of the way the COINTELPRO works. That people are now afraid that are willing to help, but they're afraid to give their own names because they've been treated and had success.
True.
Because they're afraid of the government. Now, what did they say? What did Thomas Jefferson say? When the people fear the government, there is tyranny.
Of the government.
There is tyranny. Mm-hmm. When the government fears the people, there is liberty. So it's just another example of this. Oh my God! And this crazy bitch woman.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh yeah, and we're on the subject of Wolven. There you go. That's who contacted the FDA. She was the ringleader.
Absolutely.
When they came in, they told Dr. Carpenter they were responding to 3 complaints, and without giving names, they gave the allegations of these complainants, and it's by the book, Wolven. You don't even have to, you didn't even have to hear the whole thing to realize this is the exact words of Michelle Wolven, what she said all the time. And and there was one thing that I had on the tip of my tongue and I didn't get it out. What was it? Oh yeah, the new article that you saw today on Pam's website. It's a new blog post that we put up today. The main reason we wanted up this article today is because the local news in Owasso, Oklahoma, put out an article talking about the raid, and in this article, they didn't actually make it into a hyperlink, but they put the web address of the blog that. I think the quote out of their article was, and according to a website that's supporting Dr. Carpenter's methods, FDA thugs came in and raided her office, and they put some quotes from my blog, doginthematrix.wordpress.com. And when I saw that web address in their article, I thought, uh-oh, I need to get there. I need to make sure something's there.
Yeah,
when they
absolutely,
come,
absolutely.
because they're going to come. Other people are going to come and see it. So it was just a real short little article where Dr. Carpenter addresses the allegations that got the FDA involved in the first place, which are total bullshit. A grain of truth and stretched to the nth degree. I mean, drug. If colored dye and saline solution is a drug, then, every kid takes drugs every time he drinks Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that's right.
And the devices, adulterated devices, these are off-the-shelf components that she patented the schematic and the way that it was going to be set up. There's nothing. I mean, and see, this is where it's kind of over my head because I don't want to say something wrong, but. What it is, it's not a stronger beam, it's a wider beam with a bigger coverage area.
Right.
And that's what's supposed to be unique about this particular way of doing it. And the penetration is within, I think, 4 or 4.5 inches of the surface of the skin. So if it's covered by bone or if it's deeper than 4 inches from the surface, it's not something that she, in her therapy, will take. But breast cancer, skin cancers, melanoma, things like that is what I usually hear about.
You know what? You can't hear it probably, but we got Crazy Bitch going here in the background, live by Buck Terry.
Oh, boy.
Because we had a little history of this song, didn't we?
No bleeps, huh?
No bleeps
Dr.
here, baby.
Dr. C made me make a little clip of it for the radio show, but hey,
there it is. There, Buck Cherry's wailing out live right now.
But you bleep so good, I just can't.
I'm not bleeping it at all.
Oh, I know.
This is our tribute to Michelle Wolven for those listening. Our collective tribute.
Boy,
our Truth Talk News tribute.
Boy, woman has definitely left an impression. But what I said about stalking, and I've said this before, but hey, we're talking about her, so why the hell not? The woman looked up my street address, my wife and I, our street address. Then she looked up the street addresses of the adjoining house.
What is her motivation? Obviously, right?
Well,
she also goes after abortionists, don't you? Don't you also get her going after abortionists too, right?
Yes, that's when we looked her up and started reading and researching about her. That she's got 20-something years of experience as an abortion protester, and there's a couple of pages up online where you can find where she made false arrest warrants to people in the crowd claiming that they either pushed her or hit her or spit on her or whatever. And Barbara Hartwell actually has them on her blog now.
Oh, I know
talking
that.
about that once they
Everybody, it's on our
got
site too. Blogspot, Barbara Hartwell, blogspot.com. Check it out. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but once they got her into the courtroom, though, she admitted on all accounts that this didn't happen. No, I lied. There's like 4 or 5 different times where she, brings it all the way to court, and then she gets on the stand and said, "No, Your Honor, that wasn't true." So how can you trust a word this bitch says? I mean, anyway, it's still just it's amazing. It's amazing that, see, here I go. I don't know, for some reason when we're just talking, I don't lose my train of thought, but when I know I'm on the air, I get, I don't know why. I get fuzzy brain. Yeah, but we're on air.
That is true.
Anyway.
But Buck Cherry's like giving us support.
Yeah. Well, looking up the addresses, and then finding the addresses of our neighbors, then finding their phone numbers, then giving them phone calls, cold calling people she had no idea who they were. Somehow she was able to convince them to join her little crusade. We have neighbors I still have neighbors that give me this go to hell look every time they see me. And a couple of them.
Because she's been paid to give you such a bad reputation. And others, that's what she does. She's a troll. She's a COINTELPRO troll.
I just didn't know things like that happened. A couple of strangers came to the front door to make a scene. One of them, I'm pretty sure, just came to pick a fight, and that's why he brought a buddy with him, because he was hoping I'd get mad and start swinging or something, and then they'd have a reason to call the police. But it's mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling.
Hey, Randy, someone in the front chat wants to know how big are her lasers, and they said they would think it's something that a couple of guys could not easily tote out.
Well, they did.
How large are they, Randy? I mean, are they like the size of speakers? Are they big? I mean, like what size? Give it a like the size of a stack. Talking in musical terms.
Oh, yeah, that'd be about the size of a good SVT head.
Okay.
All
right. So they're definitely
how
portable.
heavy are they?
That's definitely portable.
Yeah, they'd be portable. Very delicate, but still portable, though.
How heavy do you think they might be?
Oh, I don't know, 50 pounds each. The console part, and then the applicator is connected by a cable. But anyway, I really don't know what's going to happen. We're trying to seek out an attorney willing to take on something that's going to bring them a lot of publicity and give them the opportunity to take on the FDA, which is a big deal.
It's a big deal. It is a big deal. You'll find
there's somebody. A big movement. You think as much anti-FDA, media as there is out there today, especially, it's amazing the number of attorneys that once you put their feet to the fire, no, I don't want to touch this. I don't want to touch this.
Yeah, because it's the establishment. They're going against their own establishment. That's what it is. That's what it is.
But it seems to me, anyway, that it would be very easy to prove that these, without much deliberation, even that the allegations in this FDA complaint are completely false.
Oh, it's erroneous. It's totally bullshit.
But going back to the lawsuit that happened 3 years ago, it lasted over 2 years. It came to trial last summer, about a year ago, but it was in litigation forever. And going back to the way they did that, Dr. Carpenter had 12 witnesses that were cured patients that wanted to come and speak on her behalf, and all but 4 of them they just seemed to turn down for arbitrary reasons. I mean, it's like a reason that didn't even make sense.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why all of this is happening and why it's very fortunate and good that you came on tonight. I used most of the broadcast for this, which is fine, no worries. But I was talking about first of all, the medical mafia, and the connection to the bankers, the connection to the Federal Reserve and the big pharma. Now,
I'll tell you, there's a Okay, go ahead.
No. What I'm saying is, it is, and one of the things that I want to just bring to everyone's attention is the World Health Organization, which again is like just disastrous. But again, they even give a report that states 7.5 million annual death toll around the world is on the rise as populations increase. So the more we increase our population, the more of us get cancer. Now, this is the World fucking Health Organization saying it. At least 12.6.
And there's some wild mathematical formula, I'm sure, for all of this, right?
Yeah, and then at least 12.6 million people are diagnosed with cancer around the world every year, and more than 7.5 million die. So basically, just about half die. So my point is this, ladies and gentlemen, listening, that Dr. Carpenter's alternatives to the medical mafia doesn't help the eugenics. They want to kill us. You understand this? They want to profit by killing us and have us pay for our own enslavement, pay for our own misery and death through absorbent health insurance and unnecessary procedures. And literally poisoning you, but yet something that is not poisonous,
bankrupt you
that leaves nothing to your body, that doesn't leave you sick or in any bad way. All these drugs, give side effects, which need other drugs to treat them and cause other ailments. We know the Rockefellers, they put sterilants in this. That's why they're talking about this. We know they put cancer in it. It's on record. It's the truth. So how the hell can you allow these medical mafia scum from this Winthrop Rockefeller Hospital, who again were probably the first point of contact that Dr. Carpenter had with her technology,
take total control of your life.
To take total control of that, and to say no, you can't have freedom. You can't choose a treatment. They do it all the time. Wealthy people go out of the country for treatments because this criminal FDA won't allow it. Because the medical mafia through Sloan Kettering. Now, I only have 9 minutes, and this is important, because I do have, again, I just told you those tolls. That's real information. So the World Health Organization is saying that 7.5 million annual deaths around the world is on the rise, and as the population increases. So they're admitting, so as our population rises, so does our rate of cancer. Okay? Whoa! Yeah. Cancer deaths, too. So what are they talking about? It's all a lie. The Sloan Kettering. So three people people make a complaint against Dr. Carpenter. Get the FDA up her ass. Take her away. Take her ability to make a living away from her.
And how many hundreds of thousands die from chemo? And
exactly. I said it on the air the other day. Big Pharma kills hundreds of thousands of people a year.
Oh, hell yes. Hell yes. And I love talking about socialism and redistribution of wealth, because
yes, that's what it is.
We're under a
fraud destroys the mainstream medical cancer industry. This is from Andre Evans in the Activist Post. He wrote an article which is like, it's so true. It's fairly evident that the corruption
and they own the people that are supposed to be protecting us.
Well, that's the point. Like, again, I'm just going to give a little sampling from this article because I had a couple of things I wanted to bring out. Was that
the
Mayo
supposed
Clinic
to protect us.
But remember that? That's right. And then the Mayo Clinic, it's always held in high regard. What about the rise in ALS? There's a family in my town that are in my parish, in my church, where my son goes to school. The children go to school with my son. The guy's got ALS. ALS is now, everybody all of a sudden has ALS, this rare disease, okay? It's all because of the vaccines, ladies and gentlemen. It's all because of the sterilants put in the vaccines and all the adjuvants, and all the other things. Adjuvants, I'm sorry. Put in these vaccines.
Mystery chemicals.
Mystery chemicals, right, exactly. And now you have the Mayo Clinic itself determined that 10 years' worth of cancer research has been made useless due to fraud. It's fairly evident that corruption pervades many facets, but we would think that profit-driven major pharmaceutical companies would be not doing this. What do you think? It's all about money. and various political objectives. Of course. That's why they tell your kids have to get vaccinated when it's not true. It's a lie. It's a lie because Big Pharma's in on everything. The Rockefellers control Big Pharma. The Rockefellers are the ones that had the education system set into place. The whole thing has been put together very diligently over the last 100 years to bring in a very well, it's not that they're not communists, okay? Let's not get this straight. They're collectivists, okay? But communism is what the people will be under. That's how they can control.
It's still
things.
A totalitarian regime, though.
No, that's what it is. But it's technically not. They're not. They could care. It's not like I'm a communist. You know what I mean? No, fuck that. They're collectivists. They just want to control everything, and they'll use communism as a way. They take everything away from the people. Then the people have to scrape for whatever the government will give them. I mean, that's what they're doing. Anyway.
Yeah, because they can't go back. They've already established this norm to where each positive cancer diagnosis equates to somewhere between $1 million and $2 million in revenue.
Well, yes.
Think about that.
Absolutely.
Each positive diagnosis results in that much revenue.
Of course, that's why it's done.
I mean,
don't you understand? This is a business, ladies and gentlemen. They're giving you cancer and treating it, and the drugs cause cancer. Take Orencia. There's a chance you might get cancer, but don't worry about it. Because now they know, because of SV40 simian virus that were put in the original polio vaccines, that millions and millions of people died of cancer. 100 million people got cancer. It's on record. Okay? Now they know this, so now they put the drugs out and they say it might cause cancer, so they cover themselves. Because now, wow, cancer's on the rise. But it might cause cancer, but ask your doctor. Okay?
Yeah, now, he'll be honest with you, won't he? Yeah.
Absolutely. Of course, he's your doctor. You have to believe him. Believe him before you believe your parents. Okay, anyway.
He's the doctor at St. Joseph's Hospital. You notice how these hospitals have this religious overtone, you know?
A lot of them do, yeah. Well,
to get you into the mind of God and trust and everything.
It's helping, and yes, it's all a big psyop, as you know, Randy. I mean, we're preaching to the choir here, but seriously, what's really astounding is I'm giving some more information. I'm trying to talk fast because I only got 4 minutes. For Harry Link at Death to the New World Order comes on here on TruthBroadcastNetwork.com. Sheng Wang of Boston University School of Medicine Cancer Center. Okay? His cancer research was found to be misconducted, fraudulent, and contained altered results. Okay? What is unsettling is the fact that his research has been previously accepted and used as cornerstone for which to base all subsequent cancer research. On record factual truth, okay? That's what you get here on Truth Talk News. No bullshit, no fucking COINTELPRO, truth. And the other truth is that it's all tied to the Rockefeller Syndicate. And I'm going to use the last 3 minutes, if you guys could just give a listen here. I'm going to read from Eustace Mullins' work. I'm going to take some excerpts. It's very important to understand how this thing works. Now, the Rockefeller Syndicate operates under a clearly defined sphere of influence. The charitable organizations, the business companies, and the policy groups always meld into working operations. Okay? And basically what they do is it operates under the control of the world financial structure, which means that on any given day, all of the assets could be rendered close to worthless by adroit financial manipulation. This was written in 1987. Okay? And we know they can do this. They did it. They threatened the world, and everybody had to bail them out. All right? That's these criminals, and they're doing it with the big pharma. Now, this is from Eustace Mullins' work, The Medical Conspiracy, but it ties in to the control. They need to use banking to control. They're controlling food through Monsanto. Michael R. Taylor's the head of the FDA, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, the Federal Food and Drug Administration, the criminals that illegally, and the Stasi that raided Dr. Carpenter, the FDA, Michael R. Taylor, Monsanto, head of Monsanto. Not head, but he was a vice president, and he was the chief lobbyist and top attorney at Monsanto, in and out of Monsanto, back into the FDA. Obama appointed him. Okay, we have this criminal doing this. Okay, that's the FDA. All right, Monsanto. Now you have the bank, the Federal Reserve, controlling basically the world's economy. But it's really through the Bank of England. The Bank of England is the primary source, although it's shadowed by the Federal Reserve. But this is, again, Eustace Mullins' research, and I just want to overview it because I couldn't read it in a minute. And then we have the big pharma control. So they control the food supply through Monsanto, the money supply through the Rothschilds and the Bank of England, administered in America with the Rockefeller interests, through the foundations, the Carnegie and Rockefeller Foundation, with the medical big pharma fraud. Okay? That takes care of that. Meanwhile, continuing to things with this broadcast, I guess I wasn't talking about things that upset the COINTELPRO stooges and the trolls. But God bless America. God bless you, everybody. God bless you, Pam and Randy.
God bless you.
I just
God
want
bless
to.
you.
We'll see you tomorrow again.
Thank you for helping us get this word out.
Oh, we're going to keep doing it. And tomorrow night, more from the Medical Mafia. And I'm going to go deeply into the connections of the things I just described and how it does all tie into this bottomless pit of evil, the spider web that meets in the middle, called the New World Order. I'll see you tomorrow night. And now we have Harry Lee, Death to the New World Order, going live right now here on TruthBroadcastNetwork.com. See you tomorrow night.